This EV is very futuristic feeling looking, and it is high-tech, and it's Chinese.
This is the MG4, and could this be the next big EV hit in Singapore? We'll find out. Buy or sell your car now with CarBuyer Singapore, and check out the latest automotive content with us. This is the MG4 EV. We first got to see it at the Singapore Motor Show, and we deemed it one of the coolest EVs to check out. You can find that video by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner.
That's right, and the MG4 is quite a unique EV because it's only, I think, the second hatchback EV here right now on sale, other than the Nissan Leaf. And the hatchback style is, of course, quite rare for an EV because they're all black SUVs. But I'm overjoyed that the MG4 is a hatchback. It's relatively affordable and it's really cool. So we're going to run you through the design right now. So Kim, what's the first thing that strikes you about the MG4?
Well, if I were a pedestrian, it would be this front end right here.
Really? Does this stick out more or does that stick out more? What is important is that it looks a lot more exciting than anything MG has done before. Of course, the only other MG EV we've seen is the
MG ZS EV.
ZS, and that looked okay, right? Okay-ish.
Okay, there's also the MG5 EV.
Oh yeah, right.
A little
But they
crossover
didn't exactly,
wagon.
like, you know, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a lot more special, I feel.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, you know, all this very sharp lines, very furrowed brown. It kind of, you know, looks more at home on a sports car, actually.
Yeah, you got that lip down there, you got active aero, as you mentioned. Air intakes right here, LED DRLs, pretty cool stuff.
Okay, so I want to point out these active aero flaps. So some EVs have them, notably a lot of EVs don't. F1 cars don't have active aero because it's banned. So you can actually say that this has more aero tech than an F1 car, in a way. And I think actually this car kind of looks a little bit like a Lamborghini Urus in that way. In that
Or
way.
if you've been chronically online like some of us,
No.
this front face kind of does look like the Spooderman meme.
Hello, I'm Spooderman, and today I'm gonna teach you to be grammar.
What's the thing that also strikes you about the Batcave?
I think the whole thing is pretty special actually. Like there's a light bar on the rear, but on the top it's got patterns on it. I'm not sure if it lights up at night, but it's a pretty cool feature, you know. It's not something you see often in cars. You get the
like,
regular light bar, but not the patterns.
So it's extra light bar.
Yeah. And it's encased in this kind of like plastic casing, which kind of looks kind of cool.
Oh, that's very Porsche-like actually. Right.
Yeah.
The Cayenne has that. Oh, and if you've got a Hunger, and the unique here to that is more aero. Well, we've got not one but two aerodynamic spoilers right there, because you can be
Spoiled for choice.
because there's two spoilers, not just one.
Here we are in the interior of the MG4 in the front cockpit.
Yeah, I have not driven a mainstream EV for a while. What was the last one I did? And it kind of highlights the point that this is one of the few hatchback style EVs on the market, because the rest of them are bloody crossovers. Woo!
Yeah.
Except for the Taycan and the RS e-tron GT, the e-tron GT.
Yeah, but those are, you know, a bit more on the pricier end
Yeah.
as compared to this.
Mhm.
I guess maybe there's also the Opel Corsa E that's part of the Blue SG fleet.
Yeah, that's right. You can't buy that
You can't.
as a private passenger car.
Yeah.
You've tried one, haven't you?
Yeah, but in comparison to, comparing both interiors to this, this definitely feels a lot more, I don't know, classy. The Corsa E, definitely you can feel the plastics and stuff.
I must say I agree with you, because when I looked at this, even at the first glance, and compared that to the first MG EV we saw, which is the ZS, there is definitely a step up here. So just look at the seats, very nice stitching, very clean and everything.
Blue because it's an EV.
Yeah, that's true. It's fabric and leather. You have never driven the old,
I've
really
never.
shitty ones, and this is like really nice. It's like Korean level at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even this like gear shift kind of reminds me of the one in the EV6.
Yeah, I mean, they've even got design flair, like a floating gear shift section.
Yeah.
Really nice.
But one gripe is that the driver gets electric seats, the passenger doesn't.
Yeah, I'm slumming it. Where's the damn... Oh, I can't even adjust the height.
Yeah, you can't
Alright.
adjust the height in the passenger seat. You can just put the backrest
Folder.
forward and back,
Folder.
and then bring your seat front and back as well.
Yeah, but I'm Spoderman. I can adjust any height I want. Yeah. So, but... Okay, let's look at the materials. It's pretty good all around. This is rough plastic, but it's textured and nice. This is sort of a leathery feeling thing.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. We got black gloss on the air vents here.
And then you get a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment.
Very nice.
And a 7-inch digital driver's display, I think. Okay. And then you operate your, aircon, your hazard lights, your volume and stuff from like these buttons here. That a bit plasticky, kind of maybe like a mechanical keyboard.
But it is definitely a step up, especially for a Chinese EV. And when you look at the two screens, I think the way they lay out the fonts, it's all very classy and very nice actually. And the screen is sharp too. I mean, check out these words right here. It looks almost Polestar-y.
And then you have like this little netting here, maybe to put your key or a phone, and other like storage compartments here. You have a USB port underneath this whole gear thing, along with a 12-volt outlet. 2 cup holders, and then inside here is a very deep storage space for your stuff.
You can put your key down there too. There's little sensors on to tell you where you should put your key. But I don't know, if you put it there, you definitely forget it.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, well, I'm very active. But quite a lot of space for a small hatchback. And, you wouldn't really expect a lot of space in a small hatchback. Like a Golf. But MG4, pretty good. Pretty impressed.
So there is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the MG4. However, it is wired, but you can still connect your phone via Bluetooth for music and other call functions.
I think the overall level of equipment in this car is really quite high, especially for the price. So we got our nice interior as we showed you. We got the digital screens, we got the CarPlay and all that. But we also have, very importantly, active safety. So there's adaptive cruise, there's lane keeping, there's pedestrian detection. I think what else is there? Bicycle detection and all that. So very cool. And as we've seen, if you read CarBuyer, you'll know that we're big proponents of active safety because it's just so distracting to drive nowadays. You press the screen, you get stuff on your phone, put your attention away from the road. This is the kind of things that can actually save money too.
This is the rear of the MG4.
Hold on, man.
How's it looking for you?
It's pretty good, I think. But of course, I'm not particularly tall, so for me, average size person, about 1.7 meters tall. I got a little bit of headroom, a little bit, so it's not bad. A little cut off from my head here, and I don't have a super case of EV knees, you know, where my knees are going to the ceiling. So I think Luke Perry he would still fit, right?
Yeah, kind of fudged that one because you put like the 2 average size people here.
Yeah.
But I think he could. Might be a bit of a squeeze for him. He's gargantuan.
Yeah.
But he'll be fine.
Napoleon.
The good news is that there's one USB port here.
And it's a USB-A port. Sacrilege. God, how will you ever do a road trip?
Oh, I was excited about that fact. But there's a little cutout as well. You can put your phone there, or if you want to...
Put your phone there.
But while it's charging. Or if you want to, like, I don't know, avoid skinship when you're in the car with 3 people here, right? You can just kind of stuff your feet there.
Weird phobias aside, for the rest of humanity, I can put my phone in the little pocket here, and what else?
There's two nice little pockets.
Nice little pockets. So, how about the 3-person thing?
I would be sticking my feet in that little cutout there because I do not like touching.
Okay. But it's actually quite spacious for what is essentially a small hatchback.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing here to note is that this car has a 2.7 meter wheelbase, which is pretty long for a small hatchback. Golf is only about 2.5, 2.6-ish. So there is quite a bit of legroom as well, even if there isn't a lot of shoulder room. But this is a compact car for the city, so...
It's not bad.
It also has more boot space than a Golf. I'm sorry to shatter your world, Kim. Yeah, let's go check that out.
Also, getting off the MG4 is a bit of a stretch because there's some like extra skirting on the side. So when you want to get out, it's a bit of a stretcher, you see that? And then...
Okay, so the boot is open and we have found out that Kim is in fact alive. Schrodinger's Kimbo is solved. So how many Kimbos can we fit?
398 liters of Kimbo.
Yeah.
Or with the seats down, it's 1,177 liters of Kimbo.
Yeah. So again, this is a small hatchback, so not a huge amount of space, but 400 liters compared to a petrol hatchback is quite a good deal. The Golf only has
about 350, slightly lesser than this.
Yeah. It's pretty good, but it's not a particularly tall aperture, so you might have trouble getting a bicycle in.
Yeah.
But if your stock and trade is dead presenters that happen to talk about cars, you do pretty well with the MG4. Okay, before we get to driving, let's cover why we feel that this car is really quite technologically advanced.
So it's built on MG's modular scalable platform,
Mm-hmm.
MSP,
Yep.
and MG says it can be used for cars that have a wheelbase of up to 3 meters.
Yeah.
You know, and for comparison, the EQS has a wheelbase of like 3.1, 3.2
Yeah, around there.
meters. So, you know, maybe you could be looking at a luxury EV from MG sometime soon.
That is a very interesting idea.
Yeah, but it's also similar to Hyundai's eGMP platform.
E-GIMP.
eGimp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's why in the future, MG says the MG4 could also support 800 volt charging.
Yep, that's right.
Pretty sick, if you ask me.
So currently, this car is the normal 400 volt charging, but abroad, MG has made the claim that they can actually upgrade the electronics and the battery pack to support 800 volt charging after the sale. Now, this is not confirmed for Singapore yet, but it's a cool thing that MG is talking about here. So this is probably one of the first instances we've seen of upgradable charging technology for an EV. So if this is to be believed, it's kind of future-proof in that way, and it would put the car on par, well, at least on paper, with eGIMP, you know, with cars like the Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6. So really cool there.
Yeah, and it's also designed, you know, to be as low to the ground as possible for better stability and driving, you know, pleasure.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I didn't have the knees thing is because MG claims that it has an ultra-thin battery pack. Yeah, they don't say how thin, but, you know, well, the proof is in the knees. Knees.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw it over to Lionel, the Nigel Mansell, and he's going to drive the car and tell you what he thinks.
Right, here we are driving along inside the MG4 EV. It's got 201 horsepower, it's rear-wheel driven and has a single electric motor at the back of the car. Right, 0 to 100 comes up in about 7.9 seconds and there's a total range of about 450 kilometers per charge, which is pretty good for family-orientated urban EV. Dynamically, it's a pretty good car. It tracks corners very well, it handles the bumps easily, and there's very little to complain about how it drives. But the thing is, it's 1.7 tons in weight, which is, pretty normal for an EV these days. So you really feel it in the way the suspension works and the braking performance as well. It takes a little bit longer than normal to stop, but it's something you get used to very quickly. As with almost all new cars these days, this car comes equipped with a lot of active safety features, including adaptive cruise control, lane departure assist, and front collision warning. Still, this car is not without its quirks. The touchscreen panel, for example, has buttons that are kind of small and there's nowhere to rest your wrist, so it's very hard to engage and press the buttons accurately when the car's on the move. Now, the lane departure warning system works very well under most conditions, but only if the lines on the road are well drawn. If they are faint or they are faded, then the car can't really see it, which you will know because the instrument cluster will tell you that you can't see any of the lane markings.
Okay, so we're reaching the conclusion of our MG4 EV review. What did you think, Kim, first of all?
It's pretty sick, actually.
Sick.
Obviously, if I had the financial means, I would be considering it. It retails for 180k with COE-ish, about there.
Close to 190, right?
Yeah. For comparison, the BYD Atto 3 retails about 175k-ish as of mid-Jan.
Yep. So that was BYD's kind of breakout EV hit for the passenger car market. Really good EV, but what we notice, obviously it's a larger car, but I think the MG4 has a little bit of an advantage in terms of technology, as we said with the what's the platform called?
The MG modular scalable platform.
Yeah, that's right. As well as the possibility to maybe upgrade the electronics and quite a bit of a upscale interior as well.
The MG ZS EV.
Right, it's almost the same price as this car.
Yeah, and the MG5.
Yeah, that's right. So that was the estate wagon thing. Both those cars are slightly larger than this, so I see the MG4 as kind of like a technology spearhead for MG. I mean, you can tell from the face. It's not a tiger face.
Would you buy it, avoid it, shortlist it?
I think there's definitely a space for a car like this, so I would buy it. If I was in the market for a cool techie EV and I didn't want yet another SUV.
Oh, you don't want to spend above maybe 200k?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And when series come down, this will really fall into the affordable price range, right?
Yeah.
So enough of our guff. Tell us what you thought of the MG4 EV.
Yes, subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out whenever we upload, and we'll see you next time.
Oh.